restaurants, the beauty to financial side. We are looking for it all.
Blessings, everyone. Happy Wednesday. We're back. Lakeisha, we're back on air. Another Wednesday. Did you guys miss us last week? Yes, indeed. So we are back. Welcome to Tears to Purpose Real Talk. And I am one of your hosts, Elder Lakia Barnett. And
I am your girl, Lakeisha. And we are about to have a bombshell show today. So I hope you are ready. Hold on to your hats, your wigs, and your stocking caps.
And your stocking caps, period. At the dot. Your stocking caps. So we are missing our other co-host today, but we are keeping her in prayers. Miss Evangelist Amber Hubbard, we are definitely missing her on this broadcast today, but we are going to keep her lifted in prayers, and she will be back with us soon. But we have a very special show for you guys today. I hope I don't cry, y'all. Y'all know I'm a crybaby, right? For real. I'm like a whole teddy bear on the inside. So if I start crying, don't y'all say nothing. All I need y'all to do is share on your timelines to your friends, your family, your uncles, your cousins, maybe the cats, the dogs, and some of your enemies too, because they need to be blessed too. Okay. So you guys know we are celebrating the month of Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And I say celebrating because we have a lot of women that are alive and well, and they are true survivors. And I just want to say prayers to all families that may have lost anybody who suffered at the hand of domestic violence in any type of way. And we know that doesn't always come through a hand, but it can also come through being verbally, abused, and also mentally abused, that can lead to suicide, that can lead to anything. These are all things that we need to be aware of. It's such a shame that it's only acknowledged once a year in October, but we are praying for change. So, and I'm triple excited because our very guest that we are bringing on today is Nakia P. Evans. So we will get a chance to talk with her and really hear about her story in domestic violence and all the beautiful things that she does. So we cannot wait. But before we do that, keep sharing. And not only that, let's jump into one of these clips. You guys know how we do it. The Box. Okay, I'm still super geeked about seeing this movie, okay? And all I'm going to keep saying is I hope they choose wisely for the sake of anything that's attached to it.
Get rid of that box.
So shout out to Mike Fox. He is a film producer in the faith-based arena, super geeked about his project. His daughter is doing her thing, making trailblazing entries into the film arena. So I am super stoked about seeing this particular movie. But he also has another TV show that's actually getting ready to drop very, very soon. So why don't we roll the clip on that? Give him some love.
What happens when faith meets fun?
I know what you guys are thinking.
Coming soon, a faith-based comedy sitcom, Wanna Be a Star.
Just bring shivers down my spine.
Join Lardell's Aim for the Skies acting school with your favorite acting teacher, Dr. Cool.
I'm as cool as my name.
Who doesn't know how to act.
I'm surprised you left out Pride Rock.
Don't be late for class and miss the fun.
Great.
Yeah. Because it ain't cool unless it's Dr. Cool.
Class is in session.
Tammy says, interesting movie. She was talking about the first one. Yes, it is, Tammy. And thank you guys. Continue to share out, get all your friends and family on here. Tell them Tears of Purpose Real Talk is on, and we are excited about our guests. So I'm getting ready to turn this over to Lakeisha, because without further ado, we don't want to wait no more. We is ready to talk to Miss Nakia P. Evans and get all that it is that she has to give to us today.
Yes. So welcome. Just a little bit about Nakia before she starts talking. How are you? Thank you for joining us. How are you, Nakia? Thank you for joining us.
I'm good, love. How are you?
Great. So
Good.
Nakia is the Authentic Living Strategist and the founder and CEO of Authentically You magazine. She is the owner and radio personality of Ruck Life Broadcast, which is an internet, TV, and radio network that is broadcasted to over 177 countries. Woo! Okay, girl. So you can add to that. Just go ahead and tell us a lot about yourself, however the spirit moves you or whatever you feel like sharing.
Okay, well, first of all, thank you, Lakeisha and Lakia. I do appreciate it. Hello, everyone. I'm Nakia P. If you know, I'm the radio girl. Okay, I've been doing radio for some time. I'm the owner of Ruck Life Broadcasting, which is radio and TV combined. We are 177 countries, as y'all know. We're doing the thing. I'm also a domestic violence survivor, a suicide survivor, and also a drug survivor as well. So thank God for that. God is good. Can we say that?
Yes, indeed.
Also, just me. I love to write. I love to read. And I love to encourage and empower women. I did a book series called The Woman Behind the Mask, talking about how we mask ourselves and how we should truly be who God created us to be. So, yeah, that's me.
So thank you for that information. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Elder Lakia to ask some follow-up questions so we can get the tea on Miss Nakia Evans.
So, Nakia, I'm trying to tell y'all that I'm just excited. I'm so glad that you accepted my invitation. I just felt so led to pull you, number one, because I just want to say to you, thank you so much for when I was coming out of a fragile time in my life, you believed in my voice. You believed in my voice enough to push me. And y'all, I promised y'all I was not going to get sentimental, but every time I look at her, I'm just like, this lady is responsible for me being in radio. She really is. TV, radio, anything connected to that, she's the one who pushed me. So I just want to give honor where it's due. Amen. So I just want to say thank you so much for believing in me. But I want to say that I just thank God that you are alive, because I did not know that you were experiencing so much. And sometimes we don't know, you know what I mean? We can see people on Facebook and Instagram and all these social media, and we have no idea what they go through behind closed doors. So I really just want to turn this over to you and just allow you to tell your story, because I was looking at the pictures and I literally said, God, you got something for this woman's life, because there is no way. There is no way. And I want you guys, as we are watching, I want you guys to keep tagging and sharing to as many people as you can, because we want this message to get out there. There may be a man, a woman, a child, anybody that can be going through this. And I just want people to be inspired and motivated, but not only that, get the help that they need. So, Nakia, I'm just going to turn this over to you and let you speak freely.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Just to kind of give y'all a little insight to my story. And, you said something very important, Lakia, that, sometimes we don't know. We don't know what people are going through behind closed doors. Before I took my break from radio and I still had my group with y'all, nobody knew what I was going through during that time. I was still being abused during that time. But when it came to business, when it came to Facebook, when it came to social media, of course, like my books say, the woman behind the mask, this is a time frame where I had done a whole book series on being the woman behind the mask, what that looks like, what that feels like. What I did not imagine was that I was going to pick a mask back up. You know what I'm saying? I did not expect that. So basically, what happened was around April of 2019, I reconnected with this guy that I went to high school with. We were friends, we reconnected, we had dated a little time before. So at first, it didn't seem like anything I needed to be cautious of at the time. You know, we had known each other during high school, we were friends, we were cool. So I thought everything would be okay, you know. We continued to date for some while, and around September of 2019 was the first time he put his hands on me. We got into an argument about going to the grocery store. He wanted to continue playing on his Xbox. I wanted to get food and feed the kids. And it started an argument. We argued to the grocery store. We argued in the grocery store, going back home. And it took me a while to get back into the house because he literally tried to break my neck right there in the car, you know. And for me, it was, I don't know how to say it, and I'm trying not to get all emotional in here. But for me, it was a bunch of denial, if that makes sense. In my head, it was like, this can't be real. This is not happening. Like this is not real. This is not the man that I've been with for some, you know, these months. This is not the guy that, you know, I have been, you know, living with or anything during this time. And it was just a lot. So September of 2019, that was the first time. And one thing that, you know, my therapist told me was, you know, anytime that there's a first time and you give them an opportunity for a second, more than likely there will be a second time, you know? And that was a hard thing for me to do because the first experience was traumatic. I actually started therapy right then and there. But as time went on, I stopped therapy because I felt like therapy wasn't helping me at the moment. And it wasn't that it wasn't helping me. I just didn't want to listen. You know what I'm saying? I did not want to listen. You know, a lot of times we look at women in domestic violence situations and we want to say, you know, girl, just leave. You know what I'm saying? I would never be like that. And I used to say that. I used to say that all the time, like, girl, please. I wish a man would put his hands on me. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And we never know what it's like until you're actually in that situation, until you're actually living in that situation. Walking on eggshells every day, that's a hard thing because you don't know whether that person is going to flip with what you say. You can be loving, you can be kind, you can be quiet and not say anything. And it can be something that can bother them. It can be something that can, you know, upset them. So living in that type of environment wasn't good at all. When it came to the pictures that I posted on social media, that was the biggest moment for me, actually, because I did not remember being stabbed, if that makes sense. I didn't remember the actual account of being stabbed. What I remember was us getting to an argument that morning. You know, him basically saying how he felt, me saying that, you know, how I felt. I'm tired. You know, I'm tired. You know, this is enough. I'm tired. And one thing that I learned is when you get to a point where you're tired and they know that you're about to leave, that is one of the most dangerous moments of your life when you're in those type of situations. And I had gotten to a point, I had enough. We was arguing for dumb stuff. You know, it was just argument after argument after argument. And I'm not able to be myself. You know, I had a lot of things, business things. And Lakia, you know, you've been with me during my journey, some of my journey. So, you know, like some of the things that I was doing, some of the things I had going on. He did a lot of things to isolate me, to separate me from friends, from my family, to just cause rifts anywhere, where that to make sure that he was the only person available in my life. When it came to March 12th, 2020, that that day is like, I don't even know how to describe it, honestly. That was the worst day of my entire life. We are arguing that morning. He gets upset and decides to pick up a broom and literally beats me. My left side from my shoulder down to my butt was bruised. And after you beat me with the broom, then you decide to use your hands. And the words that never like got out of my head was him saying, I gotta make this look like a suicide. And when you hear that, you're like, wait a minute, like, what is this? And I'm still in shock, not only by what you did, but I'm in shock by what just came out of your mouth. You're going to make what look like a suicide. And when he said that, he walked out of the room, went into the kitchen, and proceeded to come back in the room with a knife. And so at this point in time, my thought process is, I got to get out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got to get out of here. And that led to a struggle with me and him between the knife. The knife was in the back of my neck. I had little cuts and, marks on the back of my neck. And fighting and wrestling with him, honestly, I do not remember the knife going into my leg twice. I do not remember that. It was only until he decided that he wanted to get up. And when I finally got up, that's when I saw the blood. That's when I saw my pants. That's when I saw that my pants leg was torn. And that's when I realized that I was hurt. That I was absolutely hurt. I wish that I could say that I was strong enough to leave at that moment, but I'm not going to lie, I wasn't. There's a lot of women that continues to go through these things because trauma bond is real. You know what I'm saying? We for some reason, I've never understood our minds, but for some reason, those things happen. We bond with that trauma. I can't even explain it to you. The only thing I knew was I love this man. And that was the thing that I stood by. I love him. When, people would come to me and say, Kia, like, what's going on? You got to leave. And I'm like, but I love her. I'm going to therapy and sitting in therapy sessions and she's talking to me. And the only thing that could come out my mouth was, but I love her. And I had to realize that, girl, you're not okay. You know what I'm saying? Because love doesn't look like that. Love doesn't feel like that. Love doesn't do those type of things to you. And so I had to learn from that. So I wish that I could say that moment of the stabbing that I was strong enough to leave, but I wasn't. I wasn't. It wasn't until honestly a door opened. Honestly, a door opened where he got into some trouble and was put in jail. And that was my opening. And I thank God for that opening, because without that opening, I don't know where I could tell you where I would be. We all want to say that, I can overcome this, I can overcome that. But truth be told, in that moment, during those 2 years, I didn't think that I could overcome. You know what I'm saying? I didn't think that that would be something that I could get out of. Not only are you abusing me physically, but you're abusing me mentally and verbally. You know what I'm saying? I was in the environment of drugs. And I mean, guys, other than college days of smoking weed, I'm not a drug girl. That's not my thing. But being in the environment, being abused, being forced to do some things, I got hooked to drugs. I got hooked to meth. I thank God that I celebrated my 1-year anniversary, July 1st of this year. So that's great. But that was a battle. And that was another reason of why I kept going back, because, hey, now you got me addicted to this. I don't have another source to get it from. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, no matter how I tried to get out of the situation, if I felt like I wanted to leave, that trauma bond would get to me and be like, girl, but you love them. You know what I'm saying? Those mind tricks would get to you and be like, you gotta stay. Ain't nobody else believes you. Nobody else believes that this guy is really doing these things to you. Because of course in public you put on a smile, you hold hands, you're lovey-dovey. But when you get back in the car and when you close them doors and you get home, that's a whole nother story. So I had gotten used to smiling in public. I had even gotten used to still trying to manage business with a smile on my face, still trying to do radio, still trying to do books, still trying to do all of the projects that I was doing with a smile on my face. And even when I left that situation, when that door opened for me to leave, I was still in bondage. Not physically anymore because he wasn't there to physically abuse me, but verbally and mentally. Because even though you locked up, you still there. You know what I'm saying? In a sense, you're still there. I had to go through the whole process of getting off of those drugs. And that's not something that I did not go to therapy to do. I cold turkeyed and I suffered that thing through. And I thank God for, the strength and the patience to do that, because that wasn't an easy journey either. When it came to therapy, I went back and forth with that because I wasn't comfortable telling people my story because I felt like people wouldn't understand. If you're sitting there and you're telling me leave, leave, and I'm like, sweetheart, it's not that easy for me to leave. Like, that was a lot of pressure. So there was times that I kind of escaped from therapy. It wasn't until October last year where I was finally able to completely disconnect. And I mean completely. I moved to a different town. I got me a new place. I left all ties wherever they was. I let family members go. There were some friends that I even had that I had to let go of because I felt like, and this is my motto, if you can't ride with me in my darkest and deepest times, then sweetheart, I don't need you to ride with me when I'm up. You know what I'm saying? I can't do that. If I can ride with you when you down, but you can't ride when I'm down, we ain't working. And so I had to disconnect from family. I disconnected from friends. And I had to get my mindset where, girl, you gonna do better. You're gonna do better. And I wish that I could say that that was a great start, but it wasn't. Because when I started going to therapy, they immediately diagnosed me with a bunch of things that a lot of women in domestic violence situations get diagnosed with. Of course, major depression was no surprise to me. I knew that I was suffering with depression. PTSD, I knew that I was suffering with that. But they also diagnosed me with major anxiety as well, and also bipolar 1, and prescribed me 6 different medications. And to me, that didn't seem like help. Honestly, that didn't seem like help. I come to you, I tell you my problems, you throw these diagnoses at me and drug me up and say, go on your way. And it didn't work for me. I started taking the medication and then I was like, this is not the life that I want. This is not what I want. Can't believe that I'm here. Looking at my leg every day, that was tough. My body, the things that I was going through, I didn't want to deal with it anymore. And so one night I went, I kissed my daughter good night. I told my sister and them good night because at the time I was staying with my sister, and I told everybody good night. And I went in my room and I went to take my medication, but I didn't take what they told me to take. I didn't take what they told me to take. I just mixed the medication, put it in my hand, put it in my mouth, and was like, it is what it is. And I didn't care. I laid down and went to sleep. And I didn't care. And when I woke up the next morning, I woke up with paramedics over me. And I was shocked. And they told me that I had a seizure. And that started my journey of seizures, which something that I took heavily on me because, I thought that, hey, if had I not done this, then I would not be here. But then also I was discouraged because, and a lot of people may not understand this, I was disappointed that I even woke up, if that made sense. I was disappointed that I was still alive that next morning. Like, what I intended to do didn't work. And I was mad about that. I really was. I was angry at everybody, family, God. I don't care who you was. I just didn't like you. I didn't like my life. I didn't like anything of what was happening. and started my journey of seizures. And it took me a while to even confess to my family that this is what I had done, that the reason I'm having the seizure is because I tried to unalive myself. That wasn't an easy thing to say. But once I got it out there, and once I, tried to sit down and think about things, it was my daughter that kind of made me be like, okay, girl, you got to get it together. Seeing how disappointed she was in the actions that I had taken to try to end my life devastated me. That devastated me. And I was like, okay, you got to change. Went back to therapy, told them I did not want medication. The only medication that I will allow myself to take is one for my seizures. But I told him, I said, I don't want no medication. I don't want anything. I'm going to walk this out myself. And basically, that's what I've been doing, walking it out, staying in therapy, encouraging myself, taking time to love me, taking time to deal with the issues that I didn't deal with before, taking time to rediscover who Nakia P is. There was a time where I would go back and sit and look at my Facebook videos that I did years ago, my radio stuff, my TV stuff, my books, and I'd be like, I don't know who this girl is anymore. I don't know who she is anymore. I don't know how, I don't know how to get back on camera. I know y'all looking at me crazy, like I'm nervous being on this camera right now because I haven't done it in so long. And it was like, I don't know who this girl is. But every day is taking a piece of that brokenness and fixing it. And that means being truthful with yourself, being honest with yourself. Sometimes we try to make it seem like we are pitch perfect and we're not. I had to sit down and be like, okay, you wasn't good on this. You wasn't good on that. How can you change this? What can we do to switch this around? What can we do to make you better? If you want to be, better, you want to do better, you want to rediscover yourself, then do that. And that's where I'm at.
So many comments are rolling through here. So many different emotions is rolling over here on my side. Because the more I hear you talk, the more I keep saying or keep hearing in my head that the devil lost one. He did. He lost one. Because it was meant to take you out of here, because there's so much greatness on your life and so many lives you'll be able to change. And you're one of those ones that is not afraid to open your mouth and speak. You're not one of those ones to kind of shy away when, whenever you're feeling prompted to do it, you do it. That has been your whole attitude, like since I've known you. But to hear that you have gone through so much like this, I'm just like, God, you got a plan for her, because she is still alive to tell the story. Mm-hmm. And you have so many women in here just flooding comments about I've been there and thank you for your courage, because some people can't step out and say it, so you mentioned something about your daughter, and that's what was running through my head the whole time. Like, what was your daughter's first reaction when she found out that all of this stuff was going on with you? Because this is what I do understand. I know that your daughter considers you a hero. I know this without even knowing her. I know it. I can see it. And I know it was just like detrimental to her to kind of know that, oh my God, my mom, the strong one, the one who is a powerhouse in every direction, this is what's going on with my mother. Like, how did your daughter find all of this out, and like what was her reaction to all of this?
One thing that I will say is that I was good at masking up in front of my daughter during those times. And even when it came to the stabbing and the abuse, it was always done away from her. The stabbing happened next door to where we were staying, which was his father's house. And she didn't know. She was at the house that we were staying at. And God, I went and got in the car and covered my leg up and told my daughter, I called her and said, hey, baby, bring me my phone and bring me my pocketbook, my wallet. And I went straight to the emergency room. She did not know what had happened right then and there. When I came home from the hospital stitched up, she still did not know what happened. I masked it really good at the time. She was about to go on a trip with my father and my stepmom. So she had her bags packed. I went and met my father. He did not know what had happened to me. Now, I've been stabbed twice in the leg, but it's like when you really don't want people to know, when you really don't want information to get out, you can mask it if you want to. And that's what I did. With the injured leg, 2 stab wounds in my leg, nobody knew that I was stabbed. I was walking. I mean, I had a little limp in it, but I was still walking. I dropped my daughter off with my father, and they left the next day to go to New York. My daughter did not find out until she came back home from her trip. And that's when I let her know what was going on. And it was devastating for her. She was really upset. The one thing I do have an open relationship with my daughter, so we do talk. It's just I wasn't ready at that time to release that information. So she did not know until maybe a week and a half after it happened.
Wow. So I also heard you mention about family, your friends. When domestic violence is going on, I always say choose wisely and whom you consult with and tell your business to. God knows I say this not loosely, but when some of your friends and family found out about this, did you feel like you were alone? Did you feel like, okay, nobody's really going to understand this? Like, how am I going to tell my family, going through all of this? How did they find out? Like, and what was the reaction? And why do you say that you had to even leave some of them behind or cut loose ties with even them? Because I don't think a lot of people understand when things are going on like that, you find out who people's real face is. Let's be clear. You find out who people's real face is when you are down and when you're going through stuff, you find out who is really in your tribe. So talk about that a little bit.
When it came to family, there was some family that just, sometimes we need to hear the things we need to hear. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we need that truth. But then I also understand that sometimes the timing may not be right. You see what I'm saying? Because if we don't truly know what's going on with someone, the way you say something, even though you may mean it in love, can still affect a person. You see what I'm saying? So there was a situation where I did start confiding into certain people, as far as certain members of my family and certain friends, about what I was dealing with, what was going on. And when it came to some family, they wasn't as supportive as I needed them to be. You know what I'm saying? It was, for some, it was like, figure it out. For some, it was like, what did you do? You know what I'm saying? And that irritated me. And I'm like, okay, so you're not getting it. I can't rock with you. And a lot of people felt offended by that. But for me, it was, I'm at my lowest of my lowest. I don't have anything right now. I'm living in a house with a man that's abusing me. I'm trying to figure out how to get out. And the only thing you can say to me is, what did you do? Figure it out. So there were some people that I had to let go of. And when it came to my friends, oh, child. um, when it came to friends, I gotta say that it kind of hurt a little bit more than family, because sometimes with family, you kind of know where you're at with some of them. You know what I'm saying? You've been rocking with them long enough to where you know where you stand with some of them. But when it came to some of my friends, that hurt, because there were friends that I was there in their darkest moments, in their lowest moments, when they needed me. But in mine, you're nowhere to be found. And not only are you nowhere to be found, but, you're making calls and judgments on things that you know nothing about. One thing that I can proudly say is in 2019, the end of 2019 and the beginning of 2020, I was still mass. I was still trying to do business. I was still trying to keep things moving in my business. And there were some projects that I still was trying to manage, but emotionally and mentally, I couldn't. I just couldn't do it. And I explained some of that to some, business partners, to also some of my friends. And um nobody would seem to understand. It was like I got talked bad about because this business venture isn't going. And I'm like, sweetheart, I'm coming. Like, I'm going through some. So when it came to certain things, like, I just couldn't rock with people, because how is it that I can be understanding when you down, and I can be understanding and I can be a friend, but then when I'm down, you can't be there. And so I had to cut people off. If you can't, and I say it, you can't rock with me in my lowest, then baby, when I start coming up, I don't even want you on my team. I don't want you nowhere around, because if anything happens on my journey coming up, I know that I can't count on you to keep going up. You know what I'm saying? I can't count on you. So I just had to let people go. And I don't regret it. I don't regret it at all.
And I don't blame you. Like, you got to do what you got to do. And I'm just, y'all keep sharing. Thank you guys so much for watching and supporting. Free Flow, she says, thank you for being brave enough to share your story. We are victors. Tammy said, yes, we have to watch your circle, who is there for you and who's not. Absolutely. 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 So, Nakia, okay, so let's break this down really quick, because I want to educate some folks really fast. We can't leave here without educating folks, because folk need to know. What are some of the top signs that you have entered into a relationship that is going to turn into domestic violence? What does that look like?
I can only speak for me and what I've been through. And I've been through 2 domestic violence situations. This was the most drastic one. I was in a domestic violence relationship when I was in college. It wasn't as bad, but it was still domestic. When it's all about them, you know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna put it out like that. When it's all about them, their feelings, their needs, their wants. They like control. They love being in control in every aspect. They want to feel like they are over everything. They have a control over what you say, what you do, what you don't do, and they will do anything and everything to make you uncomfortable, even when you're not even bothering them. And like I said, that's just me and my experience. Um, when it, I'm gonna put it like this: I never knew what a narcissist was until I got in this relationship. I didn't understand that. To me, it was like, okay, you just somebody out here being abusive, But when I started to learn about a narcissist, and not just a narcissist, but an abusive narcissist, it kind of changed some things for me. A lot of the games are mental games. They play on your mind. They make you feel like, I'm just gonna say this. This man played with my mental so bad, to the point where I was questioning myself with what I could literally see in my face. Like, I'm questioning my own thought process, my own intelligence on what I'm reading, because you didn't twist and turn everything, and I'm trying to untangle what you doing. And that was a lot of it. I would say, anybody who cares only for themselves, nobody wants to be in a relationship like that. If it can't be, I give you 100, you give me 100, 50-50, however you want to put it, we don't need it. We don't need it. And if they can raise their voice at you, get in your face, and I'm gonna even say, put a hand up at you, that's a warning. That's a warning, because that was my warning, and I shrugged it off like, oh, but he didn't hit me, so it didn't mean anything. No, baby, it did. He just wanted to see how far he can get with it. That was the difference. So even, raising the voice, putting a hand up and not hitting you, that's still a warning sign. You know, even if they hit you the first time and say I'm sorry and buy you flowers and chocolate afterwards, there's no guarantee that it won't happen again. And we have to be cautious of that. Absolutely.
That's right. So I appreciate you saying that much. So if you look at, I worry just a tad bit. I've dealt with a lot of young girls in my time, even before I launched completely into ministry, and I really didn't know what God was calling me to. But even I seen young girls, I'm talking 17, 16, in these types of relationships. I just want you to speak to the younger girls, because people, listen, some of these things happen to our younger women and men very early on. And sometimes the parents don't even know what the kid got wrapped into or whatever. Let's just put it out there. So, what advice can you give, just to the parent that may be just kind of like, my kid ain't doing nothing, or not wrapped up into this, or really don't know from from just your perspective? What advice or tips can you give? Because it happens even with 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds, 18-year. It happens, and it's been happening for some time now. So, what's your advice in that arena?
When it comes to parents, I'm going to say, parents, watch your children. There's absolutely nothing wrong with, keeping in touch, checking in on them, and learning your child. And I say this because, that's what I try to incorporate with me and my daughter. She's 17. She's about to be 18. I try not to hover, but I try to pay attention to the point where I can see signs in her behavior. If her behavior changes, if her attitude changes, if she's more stressed out, if she's angry, I'm going to be there. That's when I become the hovering mom. Baby, what's wrong? You know what I'm saying? What's going on? And I try to give her a platform where she can freely express herself, on what she feels. And for parents, I know it's not easy. You're seeing your child, your children grow up and they get to a certain point and you're not really expecting them to act a certain way or talk a certain way. But it's okay. I have to come to grips, like, my baby's not a baby anymore. She's 17. December, she'll be 18. So when I go to her and I'm like, Lyric, what's wrong? When I see changes in her behavior, she knows she has that open floor policy to express herself however she wants to express herself, not to hide, not to feel ashamed, not to, feel like I'm going to be angry over anything. We all make mistakes. We all do things. It's okay. Just be able to talk to me. And I think it's important for parents to be able to have that, relationship with their children, where children feel freely to come to them to talk about anything, and where they can express themselves anyway. So I would say, parents, pay attention. Any changes in their behavior, any changes in their attitude, pay attention to it. Sometimes even the difference in the way that they dress can mean a lot as well. And we have to stay attentive to that. And I know, as working parents, we're entrepreneurs, we work, we got businesses, we got so many things that's going on, but we still have to maintain, that balance of, looking out for our kids and making sure that they're okay. Going in the room and slamming the door is just not a wave off and be like, oh, that's just a teenager. Sometimes it's a little more deeper than that, and we have to look into that. And sometimes as parents, we're afraid to look into that, because sometimes we don't know how to comfort our children. We don't know how to comfort what they're going through. One thing that I learned as a single mom of a teenager is that my daughter didn't want me to have all the answers. She just wanted me to be there. She just wanted me to show her that I cared, that I can listen, and that, what she was going through, what she was feeling was important to me, that I took time out so that I can make sure that she's okay. Parents, we got to do that. And to speak to the young girls, baby, you're so much more worth than anything that anybody could ever give you. The one thing that you can always do is love yourself more than anybody can ever love you. I've been there. I've done it. We can have all the excuses in the world. Hey, my dad wasn't here. Mine wasn't either, baby. But that doesn't mean that I have to accept this. Create boundaries and stick to those boundaries. Create boundaries for your personal, for your personal self, for your mental, for your safety, even for your emotions. You set boundaries. Stay strong and know that love doesn't look like that. It doesn't feel like that. No matter what anybody can say, no matter what they can buy you, no matter what they can give you, if they hurt you, that's not love. That's not love.
You're muted.
Uh-oh. Sorry, I'm just talking away. Okay. So I know that you are a boss, and even through all of this stuff that you have gone through, you are rising back into your rightful position and going forth with life and helping and spreading the awareness about all that you know and all that you've been through. So talk to us a little bit about what you have going on the positive side. Like, what is happening now after this storm has passed? What is life looking like for you right now?
Okay. I'm gonna say life is looking great. It's such an upside. It's sunny. I like looking at the sun. I love it. To me, that's where I feel like I'm at. You know, even after leaving the situation, that relationship, there was a down moment because I was trying to get back to that. I wanted to be the girl that I used to be. And it's all about not necessarily being who I used to be, but discovering who I used to be, but also discovering who I can still continue to be. And that's my journey now. You know, your girl is getting her radio back up and going. So Ruach Life is officially up and running. I have a radio show called Rediscovering Me. So radio and TV is still going. The magazine is still going. And March of 2022, I will actually have my own book out called Rediscovering Me, you know, when I picked up my heaviest mass. So that's a book that's coming out in March for my birthday. And it also celebrates another year of me overcoming that domestic situation that happened in March as well.
Amen. Well, let me, Lakeisha, what do you have to say? I know this was a lot to like digest. This show was by far one of the most serious ones, and I think the most quieted we both have been, or we all have been on this show with all the guests that we have. But for me, this kind of really hit home, you know, just because of, you know, how our relationship started. And so, Lakeisha, I'll give you the opportunity to just say something at this moment.
I am a domestic violence survivor, but I'm not afraid to tell my story. It's because of the safety of certain individuals. So still caring about those people's family and my child, you know, and everything else is, if the time comes, then, you know, I guess I'll tell it, but definitely the experience of physical, mental, emotional, verbal, you know, people wouldn't probably believe, because that, you know me as an individual, they're like, you a rough one. How did that happen? But like you said, out of nowhere. And then even though I love that person, I was still like, it's not gonna end well. So I have to go. The love wasn't the issue for me. It was because I thought I could help, because they were fighting demons, a lot of demons, you know. And as a Christian, I'm like, well, even if we don't make it, you know, in the relationship, but to, like you said, like Forrest was running and running and running. If you encounter these situations that we have, please just, there is no excuse, because if you see them, the denial is, you know, is that's what you're doing. You're denying it. And a lot of us, even though we're saying this and we're giving that advice, some people still will not get it, and they will just feel like maybe they will change and everything else, because it first starts here and then it has to reach here. Because if your mindset is messed up and you don't have that strong will, then confusion and everything else will set in. But for you to be speaking with us here and to have that story, definitely you in it to win it. God definitely had you protected, especially with the suicide. Like, I said that I will not really tell anybody certain things that have happened to me as well. But like you said, to say end it all and we have children, we're hurting. That's deeply rooted hurt that nothing but the Holy Spirit can tear out. Like your bestie, that drink, that drug cannot stop it. It will not ease that pain. Living your truth and doing what you are doing, and like you did cold turkey, you was a G. Because being on the drug that you were on and not getting the assistance or giving, they give you what you need to wean yourself off of that, baby, you a strong one. And I tip my hat to you for being here still on this side of heaven.
I appreciate it, love. Thank you. I appreciate it.
So, Nakia, why don't you go ahead and let everyone know how they can connect with you? Because I'm sure after this, many will.
Well, thank you. So everybody, y'all can connect with me on social media. It's Nakia P everything. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Nakia P Evans. Make sure you follow us on Rock Life Radio as well. Okay, we got some amazing shows and amazing hosts that are coming, new stations that are coming as well. So make sure that you connect with me on there as well. But yeah, Nakia P on all social media accounts.
So, Nakia, we thank you so very much for joining us on Tears to Purpose Real Talk. Again, it was an honor and a privilege to interview you, to hear your story. You are a survivor, and I can't wait to hear about more things that you're going to be doing in the future, because I already know you're going to be trailblazing going into 2022. A lot of people don't understand, when you go through something, it's like you come out with a fresh fire that was not there before. And I'm telling you, it's nothing that no demon in hell can do to you now, because God has literally had his hand on your life for a very long time. So now you're just going to go ahead and start pulling other women up out the fire. And I'm telling you, we will definitely stay connected with you. Anything you need over here, we'll make sure we push it out for you. And I'm just excited about what God is doing. And I'm excited about your future and all the things that you're going to be doing. So we thank you so much for coming on. I know everyone that is watching have been sharing and also probably teary-eyed and happy all at the same time. We are just rejoicing. We're rejoicing for your life today. Really, we are. So is there anything last minute you want to say before we get off the air?
I just want to say thank you to you, beautiful, wonderful ladies. I do appreciate the opportunity to come on and share my story, giving me the opportunity to share. This is my first time on video, like live sharing this. So I do thank you for the opportunity. You've given me that extra push to keep on sharing, to keep on speaking out. So I want to say thank you. Lakia, girl, you already know, like, I'm so proud of you and everything that you're doing. I'm super proud of you. Keep doing what you're doing, love. Keep doing what you're doing, because you're doing it, and I'm happy for you. And Lakeisha, it was so nice meeting you, love. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed. So everyone, I pray that you've gotten something out of this show. I pray that it inspired you. Make sure you tag all your friends and family. Keep sharing this thing out. Listen, you can make everything else go viral. We need you to make the things that count go viral. Amen. We're going to put a sticky note right there, and make sure you continue sharing this out. And next week we will be back with the whole cast of The Mask Behind the Mask. I am so happy and proud of these women. I had the chance to have my hands as a creative director behind these beautiful monologues. It's getting ready to go down on October 30th. So if you didn't get your ticket, you need to go get it. But you're about to meet the ladies next week, so it's all good. So we love you guys, and thank you for rocking out with us one more time. Good night.
Night.
Entrepreneurs, experts, Christian relationship experts.